Cameras flashed, the crowd froze, and, well, just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
It is always absolute chaos.
Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today, we're tackling a massive story. The headline everywhere right now is the Met Gala 2026 moments that went too far, and nobody is talking about these.
Right, because things have gotten so extreme, it feels like the fashion has just completely gone off the rails lately.
Exactly. So we are taking a deep dive into the archives to figure out how we actually got to this point in 2026. We are cracking open the red carpet retrospectives, combing through behind-the-scenes designer interviews, and even looking at literal engineering blueprints.
Yeah, we have to look at the blueprints from Hollywood special effects houses to even understand what is happening on these carpets now.
Our mission here is to unpack the hidden architecture of the modern viral moment. Why do celebrities take these massive, frankly insane risks?
Right, we are going to explore the grueling, often painful physical labor required to pull these stunts off. And we'll trace how the Met Gala evolved from this quiet, exclusive charity dinner into, well, a high-stakes battleground for the internet's attention.
So if you have ever scrolled through your feed the morning after the Met Gala, paused on a photograph of an A-lister and just thought, what on earth were they thinking? You are going to want to hear this.
By the time we are done, you'll understand the exact, highly calculated mechanics behind the madness.
But to really grasp how extreme this has become by 2026, we have to start with the canvas itself. Lately, I've noticed this massive shift. It's no longer just about slipping into a stunning, custom-tailored dress, you know?
No, not at all. The human body is basically being treated as raw material now.
Yes. I mean, I still can't stop thinking about Lil Nas X at the 2023 gala. When I first saw that photo of him completely covered in silver, I genuinely thought it was like post-production CGI.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It looked totally unreal. But he was actually covered head to toe in metallic body paint.
Right. Paint, pearls, and something like 5,000 Swarovski crystals.
The sheer logistics of that look are just staggering. I mean, you're looking at a level of physical discipline that borders on athletic endurance.
That is exactly what fascinates me. Because Pat McGrath, the legendary makeup artist, her and her team started applying that paint at 8:30 in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, and they didn't finish until 7:00 p.m. That is nearly 12 hours of standing absolutely still.
12 hours?
12 hours while a team intricately glues thousands of individual crystals to your skin just to create this ornate illusion of a Venetian mask directly on his face.
How do you even function like that?
You don't. If your lips are painted silver and literally encrusted with glass, you can't eat.
Oh, right.
You could barely even drink.
Yeah, you're basically sipping water through a very carefully placed straw for an entire day, assuming you drink it all, honestly.
And wait, doesn't covering that much surface area of the human body in metallic paint mess with your body temperature?
Oh, absolutely. It ruins your body's ability to regulate heat. It is deeply, deeply uncomfortable. But, you know, that discomfort is actually kind of the point.
Wait, the suffering is intentional?
In a sociological sense, yes, absolutely. I mean, we live in an era of infinite scrolling content.
Right, the endless scroll.
Exactly. A beautiful silhouette just doesn't stop the thumb anymore. So celebrities are engaging in what you could call a proof of labor.
Proof of labor.
Yeah. When you see Lil Nas X standing there for 12 hours, or Doja Cat that same year, she spent 4 hours in a chair having facial prosthetics glued to her skin just to look like Karl Lagerfeld's cat, Choupette.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
It communicates something visceral to the audience.
It's like extreme method acting, but for a red carpet? I mean, Doja Cat even stayed in character all night, literally meowing into the reporters' microphones.
She was fully committed.
She really was. But here is my fundamental issue with this. When the focus shifts to special effects artists applying silicone prosthetics to a pop star's face, doesn't that completely overshadow the fashion designers?
That is a very valid point.
Because Doja Cat was wearing this gorgeous Oscar de la Renta gown designed by Fernando Garcia and Laura Kim, but nobody was talking about the dress. The clothing feels totally secondary to the stunt.
That is a completely fair critique, and I wrestle with that tension too. It really does often sideline the actual textiles.
Yeah.
But if we look at the psychology of the modern consumer, the endurance required for these transformations proves a celebrity's commitment to the spectacle.
So it's about proving how hard you worked.
Exactly. It tells the public, I suffered for your entertainment. It forces the viewer to respect the sheer willpower involved. They are hacking the internet's attention span by turning their own bodies into the exhibit.
Okay, but there has to be a ceiling to body modification. I mean, you can only sit in the makeup chair for so long before you hit the absolute physical limits of human endurance.
Right, you can only do so much to yourself.
So if you can't alter your own body any further, what's the next logical step? You externalize the shock value. Which brings us to the rise of the jarring, headline-stealing prop.
Yes. The prop as the ultimate plus one.
And nobody escalates this quite like Jared Leto. We kind of touched on the extreme stuff, but in 2019, for the camp theme, he showed up in a red Gucci gown, casually clutching a terrifyingly accurate replica of his own severed head.
Which, just for context, was a direct nod to a Gucci runway show from the year prior. It was inspired by Donna Haraway's 1984 essay, A Cyborg Manifesto.
The craftsmanship behind that head blew my mind. The Italian special effects house Machinarium didn't just sculpt it.
What did they do?
They had to digitally scan his head, physically mold it, and cast it in silicone and polyurethane resins.
Why polyurethane?
Because polyurethane mimics the exact light refraction of human skin. They painstakingly matched his eyes, his hair, like every single follicle of his goatee.
That is insane.
It is. And then, 4 years later, in 2023, Leto pivots entirely. He arrives as a giant, hyper-realistic mascot suit of that same cat we mentioned earlier, Choupette.
And the engineering inside that suit was an absolute marvel.
Oh, you looked into the suit?
Yeah. A production studio called SCPS spent 4 weeks building it in total secrecy. And you have to realize, a mascot suit like that can easily weigh 40 pounds or more.
Oh, yeah.
Easily. You can't just toss that on a celebrity and send them up a massive museum staircase.
Right, so what did they do?
They had to build specialized weight distribution systems into the shoulder so his neck wouldn't literally snap.
Oh, my.
And they installed battery-powered cooling fans inside the giant cat head just so he wouldn't pass out from heat exhaustion on the carpet.
That is terrifying and amazing. And they hid breakaway seams in the synthetic fur, too, right? So he could quickly rip the suit off to reveal a traditional outfit underneath.
Exactly. The designers at SCPS were apparently just sweating bullets, watching the Vogue live stream, praying all those hidden mechanics actually worked.
And they did. Leto even gave Lizzo a hug while he was fully inside the giant cat head. It was surreal.
It really was.
And if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you subscribe to Starscope Report. We've got even crazier stories ahead, so hit that button.
Because Leto is definitely not the only one doing this.
Right. Jaden Smith walked the carpet in 2017, clutching a handful of his own severed blonde dreadlocks.
Wait, his own hair?
Yeah. He claimed he brought them because his sister couldn't be his date.
That is wild.
And then Frank Ocean showed up in a sleek Prada suit in 2021, but he was carrying a glowing, green, animatronic robot baby.
A robot baby. In a onesie, if I recall.
Yes. But to me, this feels like a magician's cheap misdirection. It's a parlor trick. You bring a severed head or a robot baby just to guarantee people look at you. Doesn't relying on a gimmick like a mascot suit actively cheapen the prestigious legacy of the Costume Institute?
I get that. It is really tempting to dismiss it as a cheap trick, but we have to analyze how the internet actually functions today.
Okay, tell me.
The platforms we use are built on algorithms that measure something called dwell time.
Dwell time. Like how long you look at a post.
Literally how many milliseconds you pause on an image before scrolling past it. A beautifully tailored Prada suit takes time and knowledge to appreciate. You have to understand the drape of the fabric, the subtle tailoring.
And the algorithm does not care about the subtlety of Italian tailoring.
Not at all. The algorithm rewards the double take. A severed head or a glowing green robot baby creates instant algorithmic friction.
Algorithmic friction. I love that term.
It bypasses the need for the audience to understand high fashion and triggers a very basic psychological reaction, which is confusion.
Right. You stop scrolling just to figure out what you're looking at.
Exactly. That dwell time tells the algorithm the image is highly engaging, which pushes it to more feeds, creating a massive viral snowball effect. The prop is basically a weaponized tool to hack global attention.
Wow. And wait until you hear what came next, because later in the episode, we will talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming with some of these outfits.
Oh, definitely.
So if the internet heavily rewards the double take, how does that warp the gala's actual themes? Because every year has a specific historical or artistic focus, right?
Yes. Usually a very curated museum exhibition theme.
But lately, it feels like celebrities treat the theme less like an elegant prompt and more like a literal, high-budget Halloween costume party.
You're talking about the literal interpretations where all nuance just goes out the window and the theme is taken entirely at face value.
Exactly. Katy Perry in 2019 is the ultimate example of this. The theme was camp. She arrives on the pink carpet wearing a fully lit, functioning Moschino chandelier.
A literal chandelier.
Yes. And then she sneaks into the Met bathrooms and physically changes into a massive hamburger costume, complete with a lettuce dress and a toothpick hat.
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom. Jennifer Lopez literally walked past her while she was strapping on the sesame seed bun.
That is so absurd. But Perry has a history of doing this. I mean, the year prior, in 2018, for the Catholic Heavenly Bodies theme, she wore Versace angel wings so massive she physically couldn't walk forward through the museum doors.
Wait.
Yeah, she had to shuffle sideways just to get inside.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
And obviously, we have to talk about Rihanna. In 2015, the theme was China. Through the looking glass, Rihanna wears this sweeping, enormous yellow cape.
Oh, the iconic yellow cape.
It is visually arresting, but the internet immediately went to work photoshopping it into a giant pizza or an omelet in a frying pan.
That meme was everywhere. You could not escape the omelet dress.
You really couldn't. Add in Elle Fanning in 2019 wearing Miu Miu coordinates completely covered in kitschy charms like Barbies, unicorns, even a picture of herself. But I have to ask the hard question here.
Go for it.
Where is the line between haute couture and a theme park character? If you were dressed as a literal fast food burger, are we still celebrating global fashion? Or have we just abandoned the concept of elegance entirely?
Look, I will admit seeing a hamburger costume next to priceless historical artifacts is super jarring. It feels like a betrayal of the gala's origins, but context is everything here.
Okay, what's the context for a burger?
Well, the 2019 theme wasn't just a generic instruction to be wacky. It was specifically based on Susan Sontag's famous 1964 essay, Notes on Camp.
So the theme itself was basically about bad taste.
To boil it down, yes. Sontag defines camp as the love of the unnatural, of artifice, and of exaggeration. It is the victory of style over content.
Okay, I see where you're going.
By that strict academic definition, Katy Perry's hamburger was a masterful execution of the assignment. Her stylist at the time actually referred to this approach as metacamp. She was embodying the philosophy of the theme, even if the general public just thought she looked completely ridiculous.
So she was playing a different game entirely. She was honoring the literature behind the theme, rather than traditional red carpet glamour.
Precisely. And let's look closer at Rihanna's yellow cape, too. Yes, the internet reduced it to an omelet, but the craftsmanship behind that piece was staggering.
Oh, I know, it weighed 55 pounds.
Exactly. 55 pounds. And it took one Chinese artisan 2 whole years to embroider it by hand using real silver thread. It was designed by Guo Pei,
who honestly most Americans had never heard of at the time.
Which is the crucial point here. Rihanna used that highly literal, highly memeable silhouette as a Trojan horse.
A Trojan horse for what?
Well, she captured the internet's attention with the sheer scale of the cape, and in doing so, she platformed a master international designer who was previously unknown in the West.
Oh, wow.
She researched Chinese couture specifically to honor the theme respectfully. It proves that a literal outfit can be mercilessly mocked by the internet, yet still shift the global fashion industry.
That is brilliant. But trying to engineer that kind of algorithmic friction is incredibly dangerous, though, because understanding the assignment is a razor-thin tightrope.
It really is.
For every calculated risk that pays off like Rihanna's, there is one that completely, spectacularly backfires. We have to talk about the missteps and the accidental memes.
Yes. The high fashion gambles that leave everyone scratching their heads.
Because sometimes they just miss the theme by a mile. Let's rewind all the way to 2001.
Oh, I know where this is going.
The theme was Jacqueline Kennedy, the White House years. The girl group 3LW shows up. Are they wearing tailored Chanel suits or elegant pillbox hats?
Definitely not.
No, they arrive in neon yellow and bright blue crop tops, sequin shorts, and low-slung sparkly trousers.
A fascinating, if total, mismatch for the elegance of Camelot.
Completely. Or Frances McDormand in 2018 for the Catholic theme. She wore a teal Valentino cape with a bizarre, enormous arrangement of green leaves, completely obscuring her entire head.
It baffled the fashion critics.
It did. But the critics are nothing compared to the internet.
The internet is completely unforgiving. They do not care who the designer is.
They are brutal. Let's look at Kim Kardashian's first Met Gala in 2013. She was heavily pregnant, and she wore a floral Givenchy dress. It was a custom made from stretchy fabric to accommodate her.
And what did the internet do?
Within minutes, the internet ripped it apart, relentlessly comparing the floral pattern to a grandmother's old dusty couch.
That was so harsh.
Or Beyoncé in 2016. She wears this intricate, puffy-sleeved latex Givenchy gown covered in tiny beaded embellishments. The internet decides the texture makes her look like she's covered in a skin condition like pimples.
Just ruthless. And we certainly can't ignore AP Rocky in 2021.
Quilt. He arrives wrapped in this massive, colorful patchwork coat designed by ERL, and the internet sleuths got to work instantly.
This is my favorite story.
An Instagram user named Sarah saw the photo of him on the carpet and realized the coat wasn't just inspired by vintage textiles. It was literally her great-grandmother's actual quilt.
No way.
Yes. Her family had donated it to a thrift store in California. He essentially wore a thrifted bedspread to the pinnacle of global fashion.
That is unbelievable. Though, we should also note that the internet's rush to mock things often buries outfits that carry immense, poignant meaning.
That's what happened to Dan Levy in 2021, right?
It is. He wore a J.W. Anderson suit that featured this dramatic, puffy-sleeved silhouette and an illustration of two men kissing across the front.
And people didn't like it.
It was critically panned by a lot of fashion bloggers who just didn't like the shape of it. But Levy later explained the suit was a highly specific tribute to the late American multimedia artist and LGBTQIA+ activist David Wojnarowicz.
Oh, wow. So it had a really deep message.
Yeah, it was a defiant statement of queer love on a global stage. But the nuance was completely lost in the rapid-fire scroll of social media.
That is so unfortunate if we relate this back to our own lives. I mean, we all have that one outfit from a high school prom or a wedding that we look back on and cringe.
Well, for sure.
But our bad choices weren't broadcast globally, immortalized in high definition, and dissected by Vogue magazine. I just don't understand how this happens at this level.
What do you mean?
Well, with unlimited budgets, months of planning, and entire teams of professional stylists, how do A-listers still manage to miscalculate the public's reaction so spectacularly?
It comes down to the psychology of the fashion echo chamber.
The echo chamber.
Yeah. When a celebrity is preparing for the Met Gala, they are surrounded by avant-garde creators, visionary stylists, and, frankly, yes men. They spend months staring at mood boards and fabric swatches.
Right.
So inside a beautifully lit fitting room, a latex dress covered in beads looks like a masterpiece of avant-garde texture. But they forget to account for how that texture translates under the harsh flashbulbs of the paparazzi.
Especially when it's compressed into a tiny JPEG on a smartphone screen.
Exactly. They lose the perspective of the average person looking at their phone on the subway. They just get way too close to the art.
That makes a lot of sense.
However, if we step back, we actually have to completely reframe what a failure means in the modern attention economy.
How do you mean? A bad outfit is still a bad outfit, isn't it?
Visually, perhaps, but culturally. A boring, perfectly safe, pretty dress is forgotten by Tuesday morning. It generates zero dwell time.
Okay, true.
But Kim Kardashian's couch dress, we are actively dissecting it more than a decade later. AAP Rocky's thrifted quilt became one of the most legendary internet stories of the year.
So the initial mockery fades, but the cultural footprint remains.
Precisely. In an ecosystem where attention is the only currency that matters, a spectacular miss is ultimately a massive win. It grants you a strange kind of cultural immortality.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because that right there is a huge takeaway. So what does this all mean for us as the audience? We've gone on quite a journey today.
We really have.
We've looked at the intense physical agony of Pat McGrath spending 12 hours turning Lil Nas X into a human mirror. We've explored the insane engineering required to keep Jared Leto from passing out inside a 40-pound cat mascot suit.
And how Frank Ocean's robot baby was literally a calculated algorithm hack.
Yes. We've discussed Katy Perry's Metacamp hamburger, Guo Pei's incredible 55-pound embroidered cape, and how the high-fashion echo chamber accidentally turns thrift store quilts and latex into immortal memes.
It is beautiful, it is entirely chaotic, and it is undeniably entertaining.
And the most important takeaway for you listening to this right now is that the next time you are scrolling past a bizarre, baffling red carpet photo, take a second to look closer.
Yes, look closely. Because behind the sheer shock value, there is almost always a fascinating mechanism at work.
You are looking at intense, hidden labor from unsung special effects artists.
You are looking at extreme physical endurance.
And above all, you are looking at a highly calculated, desperate strategy to capture the world's attention and refuse to let it go.
It really shifts the entire perspective. It's not just a party, it's an arms race.
It really is. And it leaves us with something pretty provocative to chew on. If the ultimate goal of the Met Gala isn't actually to look traditionally beautiful, but to generate algorithmic friction and an enduring cultural narrative.
Maybe the worst-dressed celebrities are actually the most successful communicators of our digital age.
Exactly. They're the ones speaking the language of the internet fluently.
They aren't dressing for the room, they are dressing for the feed.
Which raises a terrifying, thrilling question. As we picture those blinding flashbulbs and those iconic museum steps looking forward to the future, what on earth will it take to shock us 10 years from now?
I can't even imagine.
When severed heads, robot babies, and literal hamburgers are already in the history books, how do you hack an algorithm that has already seen everything? Will clothes even be involved at all?
That is a wild thought.
Something to think about the next time the first Monday in May rolls around. You've been listening to Star Scoop Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.